See, this is what happens when you have a mic incident. The last live show you did at the end of last year, you mute the mic just in case, and then you do this whole cool intro thing where you talk a little bit. Nobody hears you because the fucking mic is muted. And then you notice it says mic's muted. So yes, everybody, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Fucking hell. One of us has gone to the school of Irish Demon Tech. Um, but yeah, that was me. I should never do that. Never go to Irish Demon Tech. Just don't do it. So what I was saying before I realized that I was muted was I want to know which one of you caught it because I know somebody did. Somebody caught it. Let me know. It was in the intro. I caught it. I caught it too late, but I left it in there anyways instead of redoing it because fuck it. I want see what happened. See what happened. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Unchained America's Irish Demon Tech skills. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oh man. I guess I can't bust his balls too much next time I see him. Oh, Jesus. Frayed ends of Smitty. Thank you so much for 20 with no message. What are you doing? Send me a message at me and I'll read that out for you. By the way, my good buddy Smitty did send me some, or we talk on the phone often. He let me know that his situation, the one that asked everybody to keep Smitty in your thoughts and whatnot. It's everything so far is good. It's getting better, which is awesome. It's great news for the Smitty crew. I always deliver that type of news. Hopefully, it continues to go that way. So please, again, do keep Smitty and his family in your thoughts. That's all I'm going to say. That being said, thank you so much, Smitty, for that $20. I really do appreciate it. And Hank's Corner has gifted one plot hole membership. Thank you so much, Hank's Corner. Absolutely appreciate that. Mr. Schrodinger's Cat is in the house. Good evening, Beth, Raven Darkstar, Mr. Andrat, Ed209. Cindy Sue says, sure you can, because we aren't going to tell. Jason Hyatt, never have there been truer words spoken. Irish Demon Tech School is better than the Irish Demon Pyrotechnic School. 100% correct, because God, I got to find that clip. I need to keep that clip on hand all the time. That way I can just pull it up and shoot it out whenever it's ready to go. I need to do that because it was one of the funniest things. One of the funniest things that I've ever been involved with on the internet, interwebs, YouTube, and all that stuff. It was so great. Kimmy Dawn, good to see you. Alana Hater, good to see you. Pat Dallinger, Taipan23, Sandy D, AZ Jeep Girl, Gia, Irish Stew, so many folks. Casey Cooper, good to see you. Oh man. Yeah. Gosh. There's been a lot of stuff here. Did you demon tech tonight? I did, Sandy. I did demon. I know. It was quiet. Nobody's gonna bust my balls on the typo in the intro. Nobody. Come on. Vlad, good to see you. Hey, Christian Ono, good to see you. Uh-oh. Some old dude who's been a plot hole crew member for 12 months says plot hole membership's coming in 3, 2. We're waiting. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. I do appreciate everybody who has become a member, joined, super chatted, subscribed, even hanging out on the side chat. Even if you don't like me, right? If you don't like the things I have to say, you're more than welcome here. Some old dude has gifted out 10 plot hole memberships. Thank you so much. And then, of course, we have the obligatory Skids Crasher who says, hello, Johnny O. Hey, Skids Crasher, good to see you. Commander Darklight has also gifted five plot hole memberships. My goodness. Thank you so much. So here's the thing. Everybody who's become a new member, make sure you use your awesome emojis. And let me know if you guys want me to like spice up some emojis, because we can definitely do that. There are a couple things I wanted to talk about here. Adam Trade says, what's up, my Globe Tards? Good to see you, Adam. A couple things I want to talk about. Unless you've been living on a rock, most of you are aware of what's happened in the NFL with the Bills and the Bengals. Damar Hamlin is still in critical condition after a just complete freak accident, right? Had the hit come half a second after, he would have been boom, boom, and the game would have gone on. We didn't talk about this at all. Nothing. We said nothing, right? But But Shiz, you are a cool kid. Yeah, it's true. You are a cool kid. You are absolutely a cool kid, Shiz. Okay. Absolutely. I don't know what I'm talking about. So just in case anybody's missed it, I've got let's see here. I don't know if I want to really play this so much because, well, where did it go? No, I don't have it. I don't have it up. I want to hear what the talking heads have to say. I'm one of the talking heads today. But anyway, he wasn't chop block Adam Strange. He was just a regular tackle. It was a regular hit. There was this is stuff you see all the time. Smitty. Freight is a Smitty for $10 says, remember to hit the mic button. Absolutely true. Damar is 24 years old. He's I think he was a 6th-round draft pick. So it's just like I said, there's a reason why I bring up that fact he was a 6th-round draft pick, right? That kind of gets into all of what's been going on with like the whole Skip Bayless stuff. We're going to read out his tweets here in a minute, and I think he was extremely. Whereas I do think, and I'm going to extend this, I do think that Skip Bayless was taken out of context. I will say that Skip Bayless needs to learn when to shut the fuck up. And I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to read out his tweets if you haven't read them yet, or if you haven't heard about them yet. I'm going to read out at least one of his tweets. He tries to explain himself further into additional tweets, and I think he fails miserably. But it's just this text form is so difficult, right? And this is an instance where you've got to understand text format is so difficult, because how somebody interprets what you put out in text can be 100% different than what you intended it as, right? Because you can't read inflection. You can't there's no way for me to perceive what your mindset was. Like I said, if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, what's up, right? How they say that, it could mean 10, 15 different things, right? With text, you don't get that. And I think that's part of the thing here. So we're going to read Skip Bayless' tweet. It says, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. Now, I understand that what he was talking about there, right? The suddenly seems so irrelevant, meaning the outcome of the game, because of the horrific thing that happened, with this young football player, 24 years old, getting hit at the exact right time to induce a cardiac arrest. The guy, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the guy was dying on the field. That is a terrible thing to have to witness. I don't think that Skip Bayless was genuinely attempting to make light of that situation, suggesting that this football game was more important than this young man's heart attack. But again, this dummy, Skip, has got to learn when to shut up. You don't say this type of stuff, at least, especially not in text form. You want to get on your show with Shannon Sharp, like, hey, look, because this does raise some interesting questions. There have been many other incidences that have happened that have been equally as horrific, where they just fucking pick the guy up and then, they cart him off the field and they continue playing the game and nobody thinks anything of it. They just expect it to happen. When Joe Theismann, when Lawrence Taylor, this is dating myself a little bit, but a lot of you folks who've been here, when he gets, his bone was sticking out of his leg. They carted him off the field. 30 minutes later, they're back playing football. Okay. And then, of course, we're not even talking about long-term effects of constant concussions. And we don't want to talk about the Junior Seau suicides and et cetera. We don't talk about that stuff because it happens off the field. So whatever. No, I understand all that. The issue here, the leg snap, that was so, oh man, if you have not, I've seen a lot of just devastating injuries, and I it's it's hard to watch a lot of that stuff, but that one, the guys, you know what I mean? Fuck. But Jesus Christ, Naturally, there are a lot of people out there who want Skip Bayless just permanently canceled. And I can say that I can understand. I do have an on-air light, but I didn't turn it on because I'm a dummy. Anyway, I can understand why people reacted the way they did, because again, this is a totally it just comes across as really insensitive at best. At worst, it comes across, it seems to be like you're just a piece of shit. And this is huge. The guy had a heart attack playing football. It's a game. It's a sport. Has a heart attack. He's 24 years old. How do these people want to sit there and I don't know about anybody here, but I know that had I been on the field and witnessed, I played sports and I saw some injuries in sports, nothing anywhere near as serious. Obviously, after twist an ankle, a busted knee. Whenever I played basketball, I've got bad knees and my legs didn't, you know what I mean? And I jumped, but my knees didn't bend and it got caught on. I don't know if you guys do the basketball dribble. They have the metal boxes and some are bigger than others. You have the big one at the very end. Anyway, my foot caught. I, fucked myself up, tore my shins up, and my knees are all busted up and whatnot. But nothing as serious as somebody having a heart attack or dying. And it is a terrible, John Eagle, you're correct. Says no, Johnny, it's not a game, it's a business. And that's part of it, right? So here we are, we're talking about these athletes who have such high expectations. We put so much, and not just us, like the owners and entertainment value and all this stuff. There's so much, right? And by the way, he's still in critical condition. This happened just a couple of days ago. Still in critical condition. The game has been postponed, obviously, and now they're scrambling to try and figure out how they're going to get that game taken. What are we going to do? Because this is not wrong. This is a crucial game in nowhere near. I mean, again, pales in comparison to the terrible thing that happened on the field. I don't give two shits about what happens, in this whole game situation, right? This young man, hopefully he makes a full recovery and he's able to have a fulfilling life, regardless if his football is a part of that or not. Rack the Jibber talking about the Dolphins quarterback, talking about Tua Tagovailoa having when he had his concussions, right? And that's the thing. This is one of the reasons why the NFL is under such scrutiny right now, is because this is an ongoing issue. The NFL treats their players like commodities as opposed to actual people who have to live lives after this. A lot of people will bitch and piss and moan and criticize athletes when they strike. They're just playing the game. They're just being greedy. Yeah, maybe they are. Maybe they are being greedy, but nobody talks about the owners who make all this money on these teams. The ones who they're going to make their contract money from television. They're going to make their advertising deal money based on the backs of these players. If anybody thinks that these salaries are paid via tickets to the games, you are so sorely mistaken. Yes, that money does go to paying for salaries of the players, but it also goes paying salaries of the staff. There's so much money there. If it were only ticket sales paying players' salaries, tickets would be so stupid, so ridiculous. $500 a ticket would be nothing. You wouldn't even be able to park for $500 a ticket if it were strictly ticket sales paying those. No, it's advertising deals, it's television deals. All that money goes into how owners pay for the salaries of the team. So when you have these owners making these big deals on the backs of their players, and they're like, look, a lot of people may not know this, but the average football career, professional football career, is 3 years. Up until recently, I say recently, I think it was like 15 years ago when the NFL collective bargaining agreement, the Players Association successfully got the retirement eligibility dropped from 5 years down to, I believe it was 3 years. And people were they fucking all so greedy because they want to make more. Yeah, I don't have a problem with him wanting to make more money. Hi.
Bella being mean and Bella's not letting me have my Nintendo Switch back.
Well, tell Ashley to go get back to you. Thank you. So yeah, I know Mr. Schrodinger's cat. Yes, you're correct. Says players know there are dangers in playing these games. Absolutely, I understand. Right, I understand. But when they are pushed in these directions, when they are blatantly taken advantage of, whether they sign up for it or not. I don't have a problem with them saying, "Hey, look, you're not going to continue to make that type of money off of me without me getting at least a little bit of that scratch." I think that we should be able to negotiate what time, when we qualify for retirement. And yeah, when the average career is 3 years or 2.5, really, it's like just under 3 years, whatever, 2.5 to 3 years, and it was 5 years eligibility for retirement. That's kind of shitty. I got to get rid of that one. This is not true. Don't listen to this guy here. They've been packed away because it's not December. I got to get rid of that guy. Anyway, it's a serious. These are things we got to take a look at, right? And all this, right? All the gravitas of this stuff. Getting back to the whole Skip Bayless thing. You've got, Tom Brady has passed 3 years by like 70. I mean, that guy, my goodness. Real talk, I'm not a huge Brady fan because I am a Dolphins fan. So obviously he played for the Patriots and, he caused Dolphin fans a lot of grief. But he's arguably one of the best football players in the world, or in the States anyways, because, the only football they play in Canada, some weird 3-down. I don't know what kind of Canadian football is weird to me. But anyway, that's all beside the point. So here we are. We've got Skip Bayless, who, again, just like, come on, man. Don't say this. Don't put this shit out there. You got to think to yourself, maybe I shouldn't say some shit like this. And speaking of saying some shit like this, here is the part where you introduce yourself. I don't know if you're familiar, JL. I warned everybody. I don't know if you kept up with that whole situation with the Bills Bengals. Gosh, Damar Hamlin. I had total fucking brain fart. Damar Hamlin situation.
I knew that there was a professional football player who recently had a heart attack on the field.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. I don't follow those teams. I don't really follow, sports. So
and that's the thing that I understandably, right? But we can all look at this thing here for what it is.
Well, if you want to look at it as an indictment of like professional sports in general and what these people do to themselves, then but see,
here's the thing. This was a freak accident, right? This is one of those, everything had to line up at the right time in the right place, and it was just one of those things that unfortunately is part of the game, quote. But just because something like this is part of the game doesn't mean that we should ignore the significance of it, and the negative backlash that people like Skip Bayless is getting now for saying some really insensitive shit, especially surface level. Skip Scratch for $2 says, "Hello, JL."
And I'm taking a break. I was right in the middle. I was right in the middle of my next video of doing part 2 of the Tom Brown series that I'm doing, and putting that together. And it's kind of delayed. I wanted it to come out on Tuesday, but with the holiday going on, and I had some stuff that I needed to take care of immediately, kind of push things back. So there's a bit of a delay. But I was right in the middle. I figured I'd take a break, and then I saw that you'd messaged me on Discord, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll pop over. I haven't done a live stream myself in quite some time. I've been focusing solely on like content. I'm like putting out content regularly and trying to do that. So because I know that people dig the content, so I want to make sure that I have a bunch of videos on deck, and I want to get them done and get like regular schedule out. But I haven't been on a live stream in a minute. So other than Week in Horror. So
Fair. Mickey Davis too says no way to prepare for that. Absolutely, we're talking about that kind of freak accident or whatever. There's no way to prepare for it, and it needs to these. What I hope something like this does is it gets people, specifically people in the, in the upper echelons of professional sports, to take a step back and say, hey, maybe we need to have like protocol for when this shit happens, because this is going to happen. It's just going to happen. This is not the first time that something like this has happened. It won't be the last time. So long as there's going to be professional sports, there's going to be injuries. And this type of thing, I mean, you got to put yourself in a position of a player. You're sitting there playing a game that you played, your entire fucking life. Most of these guys have been playing football since they were knee-high to a duck. Right. And here we are in the middle of a game that is supposed to be competitive, yes, but also supposed to be fun, watching one of your peers collapse of a heart attack, and he's still in critical condition.
When I remember back when we were, see, this is what's wild is because I grew up in Texas, in my junior high and high school years, and so I was in Texas, and football in Texas is a religion, especially for kids and like
South,
that.
Absolutely,
football is religion. And the smaller the towns, the more important it is, because a good portion of the economy of like small towns comes from their high school football teams, because the high school football team brings in vendors, the high school football team brings in ticket sales, and everything centers around football. So in Texas, football is literally a religion. Now, my football coach when I was in high school, my football coach in junior high was not so bad, and that was okay. My experience in high school was much, much different. The football coach that we had, his name was Nix. He had kind of delusions of grandeur. He had us signed up for 5A ball when we were actually kind of a 4A school. Mm-hmm. And so he had us playing against like Allen and Lake Highlands and Plano East and big friggin' Naaman Forest, big freaking schools.
That's
Highland
tough,
Park.
Too. That's dangerous too.
Right. So he wanted those big wins. He wanted to topple the big 5A schools. And I'm kind of like, it's like, dude, you've got our varsity team, and we're like 3 deep on the line, right? Going 3 deep on the line at best. Typically, we're a 2 deep team.
Right.
Going up against schools that like regularly have 5 and 6 deep on their varsity starting line because they're so big. And so he had this mentality. And he got in trouble a few times with the because you have the athletic. He was also the athletic director, and then you had the guy who ran kind of like the health side of it, where the head trainer guy. He'd go out there and make sure everybody's hydrated and stuff like this. Now you imagine Texas, 2 days in the heat and crap like that. Nix would.
I remember 2 days in fucking Texas.
Jesus Christ. Nix would run us.
Your first one had to be at like fucking 6 o'clock in the morning because we had to beat the heat. And then the second one, like, well, nothing you can fucking do about it. It's going to be hot.
Yeah. You got to, and because it starts before school starts, so you're out there in August when that's happening in the absolute worst conditions you could possibly imagine. And so Nick's got in trouble a lot of times for like, us being underwatered, for us not having access to water, for running drills incessantly, and just an absolute crazy
Brian type shit.
Right. It was just brutal. So, John Rapp says, how deep is the average footballer? For those who don't know, when I talk about the depth on a line, it's how many people you can field on it. So if you can field one full line of scrimmage, then you are 1 deep. So you have one line you can field, and that's your starters. But if you're like 5 deep, that means you can cycle your line out for other people, and you can keep your line fresh. That's the whole point. And we were literally going up against schools that could do this. Like, we'd be playing a game, and in 4 quarters of ball, we would see 4 different starting lines. It was ridiculous because they want to make sure all their players get play time so that they can all get the equal opportunity to be seen by potential scouts. And so we didn't have a chance. And it wasn't until Nix got fired, which he eventually did. He got fired for some ridiculous, it was ridiculous shit. But then Bobby Reyes came in, and that was when my brother played, and he dropped Pierce to 4A immediately, and they immediately started going to championships. because they were playing against schools that they were supposed to be playing against. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's kind of a dangerous thing. Really quick, I'm gonna hit a couple of things here. Where'd it go? Unchained America for $2 says, "Hello, Mama Tega." Give her the $2. I give her more than the $2. She gets all. N209 says, "Bad news does some good. Damar's charity is doing very well." Yes, we had a GoFundMe for a toy drive. It was really I think it was $2,500, and now it's like over. Yeah, so Kimmy Don says, Damar Hamlin's GoFundMe is over $5 million now since last night. All he was trying to raise was $2,500 for a toy drive. Absolutely, and
so, but where I was going with that is that because football is a religion, we get put into a lot of situations where we should not be, and we get driven to some really the people that drive these things and push these things typically and just putting us in positions that we shouldn't be. And I remember when I was in high school that there was actually there was multiple instances in Texas where we heard about other teams losing players because there were a couple I remember that dropped dead on the field. That's when I first learned about the underlying heart condition that some people can have, and they don't even realize they have it until they exert themselves to a point.
My senior year, we had
sudden athlete. It was SADS, sudden athlete death syndrome, and it was like, this is a thing.
Yeah, my senior year, we had a kid. I think he was a sophomore. He was in the weight room and just fucking turned off.
It was wild. And so that's when I learned about it. I learned about it in junior high, and I was like, this can happen to a person. And then I remember that there were times when we were at the high school that I was at, we had people who would literally pass out, just like fall over because they were so exhausted and they were so dehydrated, and the coaches were pushing it so hard that they would literally just fall over. And sometimes it was so bad that sometimes you can't fall over. Like for some reason, your body just will not quit. So people would stand there when they were standing on the sidelines waiting to go. They would stand there and they'd lock their knees purposefully on the hopes that they would pass out and then get a break. So I can understand, like football, depending upon where you're at, drives some organizations to push their players to extreme scenarios, to put them into extreme scenarios, and these horrible, these tragic things happen. It's awful that it happened to this one individual. But I mean, it's kind of, and while yes, we should re-examine the sport. We should. I mean, the safety deals.
We definitely need to take a look at some safety issues. But this isn't an issue of safety, right? This was just a freak accident. It was everything.
But so was Earhart. But so was Earnhardt. That was a freak accident as well.
Right.
When Dale went, nobody expected that, but it was like one of those. You can have this safety feature, you cannot have this safety feature.
Right. What I'm saying is, I'm saying is, in this particular situation, I don't think there's a safety feature that could have been had other than saying, well, everybody's going to play flag football, and that's it. That's what we're going to do, right? And good luck with that. Holy shit! When they talk about helmets in the 30s, we're like, "Fuck you, helmets! Who needs helmets?" So,
yet you still have rugby players who have no padding and literally go out there and white knuckle it through a scrimmage.
Yeah, no, I understand, but that's my point, right? So we're talking about it's just, yeah. But last night, or the Bengals Bills, there's no, because again, what happened? Anyway, there's no.
I was more of the tweeter. I was more of tweeter. He's more Billy Bob. I'm more tweeter.
Anyway, as I was saying, there was no. I don't think there's any piece of equipment that could have stopped what happened last night, or what happened with this young man. Because again, it was a freak accident. He just happened to be hit at the same time that I don't really have any kind of training in being a doctor or an anatomy, but as my basic understanding, the heart does what it does when the ventricle, whatever, was pushing the blood out. That's when he got hit at the exact time, which put a pause in it, and that was enough for his heart to say, "What the fuck? We're not working right now," and his brain turned. That was it. He collapsed. So again, a freak accident. Had he been hit half a second later, nobody would have said a word. We wouldn't be talking about this right now. Michael Lutz from 199 says Bayless makes a living communicating higher standard. I agree. I do think that he should be, and he, obviously they brought him in like, hey, dude, you said some pretty fucked up shit on Twitter. You need to fix this. And he tried. He got out and was like, hey, look, that I was taken out of context. It was kind of an apology, right? I don't like how he should have said, look, what I did was stupid. I shouldn't have said what I said in text form. I should have waited for the show or to make that way there would be no misunderstanding, right? We all know how difficult it is, text communication. We all know, right? We all do. Every last one of us, because again, for the reasons that I talked about earlier, we can't, like inflection and whatnot, we can't read that. We can't read intention. We can't read context necessarily.
Right.
So Skip Bayless I understand what he's got to do, right? He's in the industry where he's got to make, they want to hear what Skip Bayless has to say, whether you like him or not. He has to put himself in the situation because that's his job, right? His job, especially in the sports community, his job is to talk about these things. And again, this is not a blanket defense for Skip Bayless. Again, I've said it several times. I think what he did was stupid. He should not have tweeted it out. He should have been like, hey, guys, I have opinions on this, but for the sake of the situation, I'm going to hold my opinions until I can sit down and whatever. You know what I mean? There's a better way of going about it that still lets people know that I'm going to have this conversation with you. I do have opinions, and I want you to hear what I have to say and give me a better opportunity. And, Shannon Sharp was pissed off with him, rightfully so, skipped out on their show because of what he had to say. Shiz says texting is a shitty form of conversation, or can just call. Absolutely, do it on the phone. But anyway, so yeah,
if you're trying to have like a conversation with somebody, texting is not great. But if you're just trying to convey like quick information, like
hey, what do I need from the store? Bread and milk. Cool.
Where do I need to be? Or it's like do I need to bring something? Yes, like basic stuff that that works. But
yeah.
But yes, sarcasm. Yes, you're right, Ed209. Sarcasm does not work in text, as in I am good looking. See, exactly. Yeah. Like Ed209 knows what he's talking about. But you see, you need that inflection.
Jeez. So I'm curious. I want to know if anybody. What do you guys think? Do you think that he was right? Do you think he was wrong? Let me know.
Somebody in the live chat asked me what I thought of some comments that Governor Stitt made. Governor Stitt is the governor of Oklahoma. And I can't remember. I saw somebody asked me a question. I can't remember who asked it. But recently, Governor Stitt, if I remember correctly, and I think this was last November. Governor Stitt went on the record and said that he claimed every square inch of Oklahoma for Jesus. Said they asked me what I thought of this, and I thought, forgive me, like it's easier to give oral dissertation than this is true. It's easier to give oral dissertation.
Yep.
I thought, I took what Governor Stitt's comments to be what they were, and they were a publicity stunt. They were just a stunt. He was currying favor with the religious right, that he himself is a conservative Christian. So he was currying favor. Name for Jesus, blah blah blah, and all that other crap. So I saw for what it was. It's a governor spouting shit. That's what he does, and he can do that. That's his right to do so. He's the governor. If we don't want him to be governor, then we won't. We'll vote him out. That's pretty much it. Now, the problem is that his comments went over because I think Stitt overestimated how much of the state is conservative Christian, because Oklahoma is quickly becoming one of the more progressive states in the union.
Weird. That's so weird.
It's very weird. It's odd, and it's crazy because it's starting from all the smaller towns, all the time, because Oklahoma is chock full of tiny little towns. Literally one of the smallest town in America is in Oklahoma. There is a town. There is one
people in it.
Huh?
It's like 10 people in this town.
5, I think.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, it's it's also home to like the smallest county. The smallest county is like 13 kilometers. Is the county itself?
I got that in my house.
Right. So it's wild. So, but the tiny little towns are becoming more and more progressive. The only thing that that is
so
equal
weird to me.
Yeah.
And
you can see it because the only thing that outnumbers
reconcile
churches here
that.
now, the only thing that can outnumber churches here in Oklahoma are weed dispensaries. So the state is very quickly going progressive. So he was trying to rally with the conservative Christian base and be like, hey, yeah, the whole state's claim for Jesus and blah, blah, blah. That went over like a lead fucking balloon because
Good night, Mrs. Cat. Sorry.
have a good night. But the backlash he got was hilarious because he thought he's like, this is going to be like amazing. But all you have to do is Oklahoma governor claims state for Christ. Controversy ensues. Let's see. The sweet has turned to sour. Stitt draws ire for claiming, and this is from publications that have a religious bent. Like the Oklahoman has a Christian bent to it and still draws ire for claiming every square inch of Oklahoma for Jesus. So it did not go over the way he thought it did, and he quickly, whatever he was planning, whatever that was supposed to kick off, I claim it for Jesus, and blah, 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 that didn't go nowhere. In fact, it backlashed so bad, he's like, okay, I'm not.
I still can't get past. I can't get past the fact that Oklahoma is more progressive. It seems now more progressive.
Than Texas.
That's fucking weird to me, man.
Yeah,
it's fucking weird to me. And again, political affiliation aside, vote for how you vote, feel how you feel. I don't give a shit. I'm just talking about the actual appearance of it, like the living here in Texas, having there are very large. Bases of liberals and progressives in Texas, like in Dallas, El Paso, Houston, some in Fort Worth, all over, right?
Okay.
Hang on a second. And to hear that Oklahoma is more progressive than Texas, at least in this.
Now this is interesting because Unchained America just brought up Oklahoma was bright red on election day. What are you talking about, JL? And he's not wrong.
Right.
Oklahoma was red. But this is the things that the vast majority of the nation doesn't really talk about. Just because you're a red state does not mean you can't have progressive agendas.
Sure.
Yes, Oklahoma is a red state, and it is in no way in itself blue. Now, we could technically say that the urban centers of like Tulsa and Oklahoma City and Norman and a number of others are technically kind of blue. It's kind of like Texas was red, but Austin was always blue. Stuff like that. We could look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma is definitely a red state, but they are passing progressive agenda legislation.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
That's the wild thing. That just goes to show that just because you're a Republican doesn't necessarily entail that you are against certain things or for other things. We still have abortion as protected here in Oklahoma. Weed is very much about to be legalized, most likely this year in the state, because they recognize the benefits of these things and making them illegal, the downfalls of the perils of these things. And so they're making smart decisions. Stitt saying that, I claim it for Jesus, that's him. He's always been a publicity hound. He always wants to make the news and be like, oh, look, I'm Governor Stitt. That's just the way he is. He's not a bad dude, and I've actually looked at a lot of his policies. I actually kind of agree with them, but he does dumb shit like that on occasion. But
is it dumb or just misguided? I think
that's because Oklahoma is like the redheaded stepchild of America, and nobody ever fucking looks at Oklahoma. Like, how often are we saying Oklahoma's doing this? No one ever talks about that. They talk about Texas, they talk about California, they talk about New York, talk about Philadelphia, Florida. They talk about everywhere else but Oklahoma.
It's a population thing, right? Nobody talks about Nebraska. Nobody talks about fucking Montana. Nobody talks about, this is a population thing.
You won't believe what went down in North Dakota today. It's like, come on, man. No one's talking about the center states. No one ever talks about Oklahoma. So Oklahoma gets away with it,
I think it's interesting, but we're gonna get away from this political conversation because they always seem to go sideways. And I do like what Michael Lutz did there. I saw what you did. I wanted to acknowledge it when he said this conversation took a quick left. I see what you did there. I appreciate you.
Very good. Cute.
I wanted to get some time into this before the YouTube talking about this next subject because it is a very sensitive subject. It's a very sensitive topic.
Something going on YouTube?
No, well, this is something that will most definitely get this video or this live demonetized, which the live
Spellbinder, if you
stream.
don't
So
like it, talk to him.
what did I do?
Spellbinder 101 is like Jail's on his soapbox.
Oh
If you
yeah,
don't
I
if you don't like it,
look
talk to that man right
for the
there.
reason for the reasons I'm talking about right now. There's a reason why I did allow the soapbox conversation going a little bit longer, because I wanted to make sure and put enough distance between the beginning of the show and what we're going to talk about here. This is the thing I really wanted to talk about. I did want to talk about the Skip Bayless incident. I wanted to start with that Skip Bayless incident because it seems to be a little bit more acceptable having that discussion to YouTube standards. Now we're talking about getting into the second topic that I really want to talk about, talking about the teenage death that happened in Huntington, West Virginia, involving the police officer who struck her with his cruiser. She was 13 years old, and I'm not sure if it's Kuth using her name or not, but she does have, the family has set up a GoFundMe for her, for all the expenses and whatnot. Now, what happened there is 100% terrible, absolute tragedy. The thing that I was on Legicator's stream last night talking about this with a couple of police officers, and Millhouse Van Houten says, "I live in West Virginia and please support the family if you can." Absolutely, absolutely. If you can, absolutely. Y'all need matching "I'm a stupid" t-shirts for we do. Yes, Adam Strange. She was
each point at the other one.
Yeah. Adam Strange. Yes, she did pass because of the injury sustained from being struck by this officer's vehicle. Now, there was a lot of people out there. You get some of these auditors that are just jumping at people all over the place, right? Legicator was attacked by, well, not attacked, but he was. Somebody called him out saying, "How come you're not doing anything about this?" And Legicator's like, "I'm in Ohio. That happened in West Virginia. I don't have any more or less knowledge about the situation than you do, right?"
It's not like all this. It's like, oh, the cop hotline. Hey guys, you won't believe what happened. Oh, tell us all. And it's
right. So that's the thing that kind of kills me, right? Jim Finn says, Chili's been publicizing your name for days now, and it's in the actual news articles. I'm using it on Really Cool my coverage. The family's using it public, so I'd say it's fine. Okay, yeah. It's just, like I said, I don't want this to come across as me using this tragedy as anything other than, I wanted to talk about it, right? I wanted to get some opinions on it. I wanted to see what everybody, where everybody's heads at with this. Now, a couple of things I wanted to do is wanted to call some of these auditors, like Chili, who is of the opinion that police officers are tyrants because they overextend themselves, or they overstep their place, their boundaries, their jurisdiction. Yet that's exactly what they're calling for them to do right now. They're calling for them to, for like Legicator, for instance, and Blue Bear, to leave their places where they were, one of them out of Ohio, one of them out of Florida, go from those two states all the way to West Virginia to, quote, handle this police officer. And I just don't understand how that computes. And this is not me sticking up for police officers, right? Because I don't think anybody here has called for maybe some people have, other auditors to step out against that warden asshole who's going to spend 20 years of his life in prison for heinous crimes. But I just don't understand why we think it's okay to say, why it's okay to automatically want to pile on this person. Why? I understand. Like, for instance, there was an allegation that he was drinking. Well, field sobriety and 2 other tests conducted by outside organizations show that he wasn't intoxicated. He 0.00, right? So if he wasn't intoxicated, I guess the point is, like, there's an investigation has to happen, and it's not going to happen like that. It's not going to happen. We're 3 days, three days into an investigation, and these frauders expect that we're just going to have all the information. Obviously, because it's a cop, the cop is doing something illegal, right?
And they've also pulled the black box on the car to determine if speed was a factor. And the death maybe
Right.
like if he was going too fast and he was like overdriving his lights and he didn't see her. It's his overdriving his headlights and he didn't see her. It's hard to say what'll happen, but obviously it says it's under investigation and determine what the investigation comes out, because I mean, it sounds to me like an officer was involved in an accident, and it's weird because it just goes to show is like, because he was off duty apparently and was in his cruiser, which I think is also probably, I don't know if it depends upon the jurisdiction really.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is I've got a couple of police officers that live in my subdivision here that they drive their cruisers to and from that. Like I can go walk.
Those are their daily drivers.
Their car, their cruiser is parked in their driveway. Like
so it depends upon, I guess, whether it was assigned to him and he can utilize it as a daily driver and he was using it. Otherwise, if he was off duty and he was out there, and this is what's wild, is that accidents occur like every day. People die in car accidents daily, whether they're children or they're babies or they're men, women, families, drunk drivers, not drunk drivers. Car accidents are a daily occurrence.
Right.
And if we knew legitimately like how many people died every day in car accidents, had their name and had all their information, the only reason this is getting so much traction is because an officer was involved. Now, we don't know what he was doing. We don't have any of those details. We just know that a car accident occurred. An off-duty officer was driving, and of course, a young girl lost her life. It's a tragedy. Of course, all car accidents where there's a loss of life are tragedies. I mean, it's a tragic event. To think like something like this is unthinkable would be irresponsible, because car accidents happen all the time. Mm-hmm. Invariably, you get behind the wheel of a car, the odds are you're going to have an accident someday. So
we can set all that aside. Let's what we need to do is,
that's what I'm saying is, like, if you take all that, the level of like the frauditors going after this doesn't really make sense, because it's like this amazing. I'm just like, no, you're choosing this particular one to look at, so you've cherry picked this one out of all of the ones that happen. I don't see them jumping up and down over every single drunk driver that goes out and kills a family.
It's kind of funny, right? Because we've got the number one frauded and grifter, which we all know is Chili, right? Talking all this bullshit, who has taken up this cause, and he's going to single-handedly, he's asking people who have cell phone footage to send it to him first, because he thinks he's that important. Oh my freaking God!
He's trying to be freaking Gyllenhaal and Nightcrawler.
He really is, but he's not. He's an idiot.
He is an idiot. He really is an idiot.
Yeah, he really is an idiot. But the whole idea, he on one hand, it's like, oh, we need to burn this cop at the stake because he was drunk driving and blah blah blah. But then again, he's defending Deborah for drunk driving, saying that it's a victimless crime. Just drunk driving. It's stupid.
We all completely understand that Jose had a bad experience with police officers.
Yep.
I've had a bad experience with police officers. I had a police officer one time on literally he stopped me because I had a brake light out. And that officer, during the course of that, I had a tail light out. Or a brake light. I had a brake light out. That was it. That stop ended with that officer implying that if given certain circumstances, he could shoot me in the chest.
Gotta love that.
And unsolicited. I didn't do anything to warrant it. He just he looked in the car and he saw my mother's, because it was my mother's van. They'd given me the car. My mother's old pepper spray was hanging off of the turn signal, because my mother used to work in Irving. And so my dad gave her pepper spray just in case she ever got accosted at her vehicle. Yeah. And so, but it was old. It was like 5 years old, and it had never been used. And so the officer saw it hanging there and said, and he literally just commented, if you try to use it against me, I'll be authorized to shoot you in the chest.
That's nice.
Have a good night. And then he walked off, and I'm like, what the shit? I was like, did that happen?
Yeah.
And so I've had bad experiences. They didn't traumatize me to the point that I needed to focus my entire life and just demolishing cops everywhere.
I get it. Yes, right. So there are other, like, that's a whole rabbit hole I don't really want to go down.
You think it was like, really? We got guys going to war, IEDs, insurgents everywhere. They're coming back with PTSD, and that's the incident that gave you PTSD.
I mean, you know,
to this degree, you became the Crusaders. Like, what did they kill your parents in a fucking alleyway, man? It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is a grift. I mean,
Sorry,
that's
that's a
all
Batman.
for Chili.
Grip, so, yeah.
Well, no, this is a grift for Chili. Point blank and period, right? That's all this is. It's just a grift for Chili. Chili sees another Deborah. He sees another Tina Slay, which, you know, I'm paid to have to evoke that name right now. Tina, I know you're watching, but he sees that as an opportunity to make himself feel important. We saw this shit in just droves with the flat Earth community. You know, that whole conspiratorial minded nonsense is, well, I know things, right?
I'm special because I have this information and you don't. And
right. Yeah, if you only knew what I knew. Like, dude, you don't know shit. Okay. And same thing with this grift. You gotta now here's the thing. If the family ends up seeing this, which I doubt they will, but if they do, what happened to your child is truly, truly atrocious. It is horrific. I wish this on nobody, no one, not even my worst enemies. I would not wish the untimely removal of one of your children. I can only imagine the devastation that they're going through right now. I just want to make sure that you don't fall for the grift that is Chili DeCastro. Chili, you can be pissed off of me all you want for saying that this is a grift, that you are a grifter. You are a grifter. I would rather you
he's
do
con
something.
Man.
He's a con man.
You're a confidence artist. You're a con man. You're a schemer.
Right.
That's what you do, man. He is a parasite who feeds off the tragedy of others.
Yes. Don't do this shit. If you truly have an interest in what happens in West Virginia, you're truly curious, follow the investigation, request important information as it becomes publicly available, watch what happens. To demand, we demand justice now. That's not how justice works. Okay, there's a difference between justice and revenge. And saying you should be, what do you expect them to do right now? You expect them to string him up? You expect them to publicly flog him? What do you expect? Immediately go to trial without any evidence whatsoever, without any investigation done, without anything. Oh, well, it's corruption. It's the police department. They're corrupt. All of them are corrupt. No, I don't believe that. And neither does anybody else with real understanding. Yeah. Yes, there have been and there are corrupt police officers and corruption in law enforcement. Absolutely. Okay. You're going to get corruption in government. You're going to get corruption in fucking Toys R Us. When I worked for Toys R Us, there was corruption in Toys R Us.
There's corruption in GameStop. There's corruption in GameStop. I worked for the GameStop EB side. I worked them for a decade. For like over a decade. Yeah. There's corruption there.
Yeah.
Flat out, there's corruption there. I can tell you that honestly. I thought someone said something funny. Let me see. Raven Doctor said, jail, that's an insult to parasites. He is correct. And then...
Stop it.
Sorry. And then someone said, Celeste Number 7 said, you're crippled by grief? Great. Can I move in? He's such a piece of shit. Oh.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. And I fucking hate the fact that this is a thing we have to talk about. You should be in bed. Oh, I know. Soda. Oh my goodness, is a great soda caper of 2023. The great soda caper.
We got this yesterday.
Yes, we did. And there's 6 people who live in this house. So you're silly. Anyway, my kids, I like to, right in the middle of a point I'm trying to make, one of them come up with something right in the middle of a fucking point. These damn children. I'm just kidding. I love my children. Don't fall for the grift. Don't allow, just because he may be smooth talking and you're upset and you're angry, and he might be saying the things that you think he should be saying, that's what he does. That's his MO. As a grifter, as a con artist, that's what he does. I'm not saying that anybody should or shouldn't give Chili money. Do what you want with your money. Whatever you want to do with your money, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I would strongly recommend understanding what chili is before giving him money. I would strongly suggest that you do not give him your money or your attention or your time. I just think that it's
invasion of the body snatchers there for you.
That's something that is, I think, ultimately will not work out in your favor. Commander Darkness, he's going to grift money, then do nothing. Yeah, I mean, hell, we've had several instances of him saying, "Hey, send me some money so I can put this lady on a fucking Uber," and then not put the lady in the Uber and still keep the money. Angel Rivera says, you have to think of it this way. Frauditors and Chile are hyping this up with a made-up narrative at this time. So if the facts are different, then they can claim police corruption. Absolutely. They're creating here's the thing, and that's the worst part about it, right? Okay, so a few minutes ago I said that there is corruption. There have been corrupt, blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yeah, I mean, shit. Rampart division in LA was...
Yeah, hang on a second. That's an important thing to remember, right? That there has been corruption, right? When you make every single thing, every single incident involving police officers claiming that it's corrupt, that diminishes from the real issue of corruption. It diminishes from those those who have to deal with corruption. Don't do that shit. Let the investigation do what it does. If you disagree with the investigation, then by all means, public records request, look at the information, have it independently verified. I promise you there are going to be plenty of people doing that with this particular case. I guarantee that. So just these people, here, golly. You can't expect after 3 days that we're going to have a conviction of somebody. Even in an instance where a guy walks in, there are thousands of cameras, he does a terrible thing to another person, and we have all the eyewitnesses and all the evidence, it's going to take longer than 3 days to convict somebody. It has to. It has to. Because you don't want to make a mistake. Because when you make mistakes, that's when people get off. That's when people get away with shit. You have to make that shit airtight.
The point is,
William Grabber, who's been a plot hole crew member for 4 months, says the way he drives, it could have been chili. Fuck's sake. Yeah, it could have.
The important thing is that, yes, there was corruption, there is corruption, there will be corruption. As long as there is a system that can be manipulated by the people within the system, then there will always be some form of corruption. If a person has the ability to manipulate a scenario or a system to their advantage, and there either isn't technically law stating that is what you're doing is abjectly criminal, or the system is set up to kind of allow them to get away with it, a la the 2008 financial crisis, then people are going to take advantage of it because it secures their future, it secures their survival, it means they can maintain the life that they want to live, even at the expense of others. That's just the sad reality of it. But the important thing is that we have systems in place that can find the corruption, that can recognize it, root it out, and solve it, which is why Rampart was an issue. Rampart is no longer an issue anymore. It takes time. We do have to go through the legal system, and unfortunately, the wheels of justice turn slowly. That's just the way it is. And it's important, because when the wheels of justice turn fast, that's when bad stuff happens. Yep. When the wheels of justice turn quick, that is how the wrong people get executed. That's how the wrong people wind up on death row. That's how horrible things take place when people start thinking with their emotions and not with their heads. Yeah. We take our time, we look at the evidence, we go piece by piece. Yes, the reality of it is this. You take the Darrell Brooks situation.
A lot of people are making that case, and that is a huge point. There are thousands of witnesses to what happened.
Right.
Tons of video evidence of what happened.
Literally one of the evidence, and it got me because I was watching the trial. There it is on the camera, a still frame of Brooks behind the wheel of the car in the middle of the parade route.
Yes.
Driving. Literally this. Like, there's a picture of him. It's like, dude, you can't argue that's not you.
And
we
the
can
thing
see
is,
it's you. So
the thing is, his defense wasn't even that it wasn't him. It was that, oh, you don't have jurisdiction over me, because that's that whole sovereign citizen bullshit. But look how long that took. And there's a reason why it took so long. There's a reason why that judge was so patient with this whole process, because she wanted to make sure, 100% make sure, that there was not going to be any room for her decision, or for the decision of the jury, to be questioned.
or overturned. And we dot every I, we cross
Every
every
one of
T, and she's also ensuring that, obviously, yes, that nothing can be questioned. And essentially, they solidified their case and they put him away, but they also ensured that he has no ammunition for an appeal.
Right.
He has no ground. I mean, he could appeal. He will appeal. He can appeal it, but he has no ammo.
Right.
Because it's all spent in court. That was literally as grueling and heartbreaking as it was, and traumatic for many of those witnesses up on that stand. As grueling as that was,
training as it was on our, the not ours, but the
on the state's resources. Yes, as grueling as that was of a process, that is how the process goes down.
Right.
That individual right now will never be a threat to anyone in public ever again, because every person did their job the way it's meant to be done. And so it takes time. But I loved that went out there. It was the only time I've ever watched a trial and been like, wow, prosecutors on the ball, judge on the ball, everybody on the ball. And I was like, if only every courtroom in America ran like that.
You want to talk of that? My goodness. Sandy D for $5 says, look at the Depp Heard case. When allegations came out, everyone hated on Depp, but it came out in the end. It wasn't what people thought it was.
It's like, wow.
So I remember the story about, Amber Heard telling the story. This is during the trial, not before, but during the trial, the whole story about Johnny Depp pushed Amber Heard down the stairs. And there were people, the people who worked at the hotel, like, no, the fuck he didn't. That dumb bitch fell. He picked her up because she fell.
The minute you said that, I immediately saw Thor. Did it though? Did he though? It's like, did he though? Really? That's the one. That's the
$2 says, look how long it took to convict Darrell Brooks. Absolutely, it just doesn't work that way. It can't be fast. Again, mistakes happen. You leave yourself opened up for all kinds of just fucking nope. It's got to be slow. Blue Bear, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
We have to be able to take our time. We have to be able to, and that's the whole point of it. Is that, oh yeah, Jess, I agree with you. I didn't believe any of that crap in that trial for any moment, but only because, and I am. And I have kind of like a slightly unique perspective amongst the people that, in kind of the YouTube community that I'm in. I have a unique perspective on Amber Heard because I knew Amber before she ever got famous. So I knew Amber back in 2000. I think it was 2000.
I wouldn't be bragging on that.
I was like, I was like, I didn't know her as a friend. I knew her as a fellow actor in the community because I was in school and we were going to auditions, and she was in a movie that I auditioned for, and I was there at the audition process, and I was there with a bunch of friends, and I had a number of friends that were there, and so, but she was in a movie that, when her star was kind of on the rise, and so I knew her way back when, knew of her behavior way back when, and she was atrocious on that set.
Was that Zombieland?
No. This was a movie called Side Effects.
Oh, yeah.
It was literally just an indie film that shot in Dallas, and a bunch of us went and auditioned for it. And so, and a lot of them got the parts in it. There wasn't really a part for me at the time, and it was good because I had a stage performance that it would have conflicted with, which actually worked out in my favor. But I had a lot of friends on that set, and all of them were like,
"Wait a minute! You say it worked out in your favor that she got the gig and you didn't, but you could have been Johnny Depp's." You could have been Johnny Depp's abused lover.
What?
You could have been Johnny Depp's abused lover, opposed to Amber Heard.
No. No, I didn't get a part in the. I didn't get a part in the film. It worked out because later I got an audition call back for a stage production that I wanted to do more, and so I did that. And so, from what everybody said, from
This is an
encountering her,
important
and
question. Did she shit in your bed too?
she did not shit on my bed. She did not. That
I
woman.
know, Brooke. I know it was. I know it was off.
So that's only it. I watched them going into that trial and said that Amber, and I literally from the start was like, Amber is full of shit.
Oh yeah.
Johnny Depp is in the right here. They are turning she's doing everything she can to manipulate the situation. And it's just absolutely, it was blatantly, it was obvious to me. And the reason it was obvious is because I just happened to have a little bit more insight than some people. I guarantee you, all the other people out there who know Amber well, who know Amber personally, were of the same mind. This is not going to go the way that she wants it to go. And I like that the court system took its time and vindicated. She wound up vilifying herself, and it vindicated Johnny Depp. That's what's important, because the same thing is going on, and I found this out, and it kind of blew my mind. I found this out with Marilyn Manson. You heard about that situation, right?
Uh-oh, which one? There's some things about Marilyn Manson I don't.
Okay, I understand that some people, Manson's a weird guy, whatever, doesn't matter.
I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a shit. I mean, like I said, there's some other things.
No, Ed 209. No, it was Side FX. So it was not a Steven Soderbergh film. It was a little indie film that shot in Dallas about vampires, about a drug that makes people vampires. Is what it is. So it was a little horror film.
Amber Heard in a film about doing drugs.
So Evan Rachel Wood came out and did and said some shit about Marilyn Manson. Essentially a part of the whole Me Too. She Me Too'd Marilyn Manson, right? Yeah. And she had a friend come out and back her up. Almost starting to sound identical to what
went down. All right, Mr. Andrat. Cheers, buddy.
It sounds like later Andrat. It was almost like it was like a copy of Amber Heard, of what was going on with Heard and Depp.
Yeah.
And so the stuff starts coming out. So the knee-jerk reaction against Manson was really kind of sad, because immediately he had some venues cancel, like drop him, and then he was written out of American Gods. We decided to write him out. It was like, we're not going to have any of that. So the allegations came out. He lost a bunch of shit. He got written out of stuff. And it was a shame, because he's actually a really fucking good actor. He did a movie with Rebecca Kennedy that, she said he was amazing, and he is. He plays a hitman. He was a religious hitman. He was really good. But nonetheless, I suspected, I was like, this seems weird to me. So I'm just gonna keep my eye on it. So she comes out and she says the things that Manson did, that Manson abused her, blah, blah, blah. She tries to Me Too Manson. Manson comes back, says, nope, none of that crap happened, blah, 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 yada, 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 like that. And that's all he says. He denies it, and he goes about his day. He didn't bitch, he didn't whine, he didn't piss and moan. He said it didn't happen. Evan Rachel Wood comes up with witnesses. People are starting to get in her camp, and starting to look like it's pushing towards Manson. And then all of a sudden, weeks go by. Manson doesn't say anything. It's like, wow, maybe he's just getting hit from all sides. Now he's just like, he's all quiet now. Then all of a sudden, Manson comes out with evidence, irrefutable evidence, that the story that Evan Rachel Wood told was made up.
Oh yeah,
was fabricated.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, everything vanished. Haven't heard about it since.
Yeah, well, it's an afterthought. No, a lot of people talk about Marilyn Manson in interview wise, and he's a very well spoken individual. He's very intelligent. I have no problem with that. The things that I take issue with are how he treated some of his previous band members, and the way that he has conducted that part of his business. Again, that's all. I'm not here to condemn him. I don't necessarily agree with it, but then again, I don't know all the ins and outs of it either. So there's that. I
was shocked by how quickly, but I think the reason that went down is because the litigation was involved, things were starting to ramp up, and then all of a sudden this revelation kind of hit, and then everyone just stopped. Manson all of a sudden is no longer canceled, and Evan Rachel Wood has gone about her business. And
yeah, but it wasn't like he was instantaneous. He still had to he still has to.
He
answer
did.
it. And
He
that's
did.
a bitch. That's a bitch of this whole situation of and one of the reasons why I implore people to take this particular incident with the West Virginia accident extremely slow. Don't rush to say some shit, because that stuff can have a lasting effect, a very long lasting effect. And when it comes out that it is Johnny Depp exonerated his name in the court of law, but there are still people out there who believe that he was abusive.
It's wild.
Same thing with Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson's like, look, here's the proof that I didn't do this shit. And even with the internet and social media and regular news media and television and whatnot, information the way it is.
Night, Pat.
Good night, Pat. There are still people who believe that Marilyn Manson did these things. He's like, no, I didn't. Here's the
Yeah. This is why he did make a big deal of it, because he knows it's bullshit. He was kind of like,
well, first and foremost, when something's not true, when something like that is not true, the worst thing you could do is get into a public back and forth with it.
Right.
You don't do
litigate
that.
it in the press.
Don't
do
litigate
that
in the
shit.
press
Yeah.
and keep your mouth shut. Again, look at what Amber Heard did. She tried
Trying to litigate in the press. The press was like having they were having none of it. It's
right.
like,
but again, back to like the original the reason for the topic, having these folks, well, we're going to rush to judgment on this police officer because he's a cop. Obviously, he did something wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe he did do something wrong, but we don't fucking know that right now. We don't know that because the investigation is still ongoing. As it is right now, the troopers, the state troopers that are handling the investigation, not precinct, not your local, because the states have come in and they're doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an outside investigation force. People are, whatever, it doesn't matter. And
that's true. Nightman's wife is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hang on a second, Nightman's wife. Ozzy did bite the head off of a bat.
A bat or a dove? It was a dove.
It was a bat.
No, it was a dove.
No, they were rubber bats. Still bat.
I don't remember hearing him ever doing that during his show. I remember him biting the head off a dove. He legitimately did that.
Yes, but he also so the thing was like three rounds actually says both. It is true. So there was a portion of one of his stage performances where they had like they would throw rubber bats on stage, and he would pick them up as part of his show and bite one off. If somebody threw an actual bat and again, magically, as if all the crazy shit that lined up, right? Again, it's one of those things. Everything had to perfectly line up. They had to, he had to be, and he picked this live bat up and bit its head off and spit it out.
Amazing.
And
okay, that I honestly, there's some music trivia I wasn't aware of, but you know what it reminds me of? If anybody's ever seen The Crow.
Yeah.
If you ever seen the movie The Crow, there's a scene when Top Dollar is talking to one of his guys, talking to Tony Todd, and Tony Todd he was like, tall guy in a trench coat. He winked at me before he jumped out of a fourth floor. He had a guitar and he winked at me before he jumped out of a fourth-story window like he had wings. He winked at you. Musicians. That was his only reaction. I was like, musicians. I was like, it's so true. This shit was great.
Well, anyway, so he did bite the head off a bat. So yes, that is true. Anyway, neither here nor there.
See, now it makes the scene in Little Nicky all the more pointed because he bites the head off the demon bat thing, which, I dig that now.
Yeah,
okay,
he did.
Great.
And, he did have to go through like extensive rabies, shots and all that stuff to make sure he didn't have anyway, back to
January 1982. Holy crap.
Yep.
See, I remember I remember reading about when he bit the head off the dove.
That was, from what I understand, I think somebody called it out in the side chat, but that was in front of a studio executive. The bat happened live on stage.
live on stage. But
Yeah.
I remember the pictures of him biting the head of the dove off.
Right.
And people were like,
He was
sign this man immediately.
right. Anyway, so talking
make a
about this,
fortune with this place.
talking about this traffic accident. You don't want to sit there and run a narrative, which is what these fucking frauditors and chilies are doing. They're just trying to run a narrative because everybody has to be, we've got to be the victim. Like, Chili, you're not the victim in this, right? You are definitely not the victim in this. I hate to break it to you. No, actually, I enjoy breaking it to you because I think you're a fucking idiot. You are not the victim in this. You're just not. You're not going to be. No matter how much you want to try and insert yourself as the victim in this, you are not.
We're going to put up the banner, understatement of the year.
No shit.
Scrolling by, because that was the understatement of the year, Chili. You are a fucking moron.
Yeah, right.
You're a moron. You're a moron.
People, I implore you that if you have any doubts about what happens, follow the investigation. Again, there are avenues that you can go by that you can make sure to stay up to date. They have press releases. I think there was one just yesterday. Yeah, they released one yesterday at about 12:30 my time. So look at that stuff and you can get your FOIA requests in now, right? Now, what they'll tell you when you put that stuff in, hey, I want the FOIA request for the blah. What they'll tell you is, look, this is an ongoing investigation. We can't release this stuff right now, but as it becomes publicly available, we'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will arrange that, whatever. Boom. But you can get your name in line because I guarantee you a ton of people are going to be asking for body cam footage, cell phone video, and the coroner's report and all this stuff. They're going to want all these things. Everybody's fucking, Susie, Sally, the investigator, whoever the fuck that shit was, but you have to let the process happen. You can't get pissed off and say, well, there's obviously, because you guys don't think the way I think, there's obviously corruption. Look, I don't like what Amagansett Press does. I don't like what he does. He was arrested outside of UPS for what could be considered a very questionable statute or a questionable application of a statute. Is my understanding that has been dismissed. I'm not for certain. I haven't confirmed it, but I believe that's what's happened in that particular case.
Was he trespassing?
Yes, but the way that it was applied, that particular statute, it's questionable at best, right? Because they tried to use the fact that, well, because there was a school not too far away or within a certain distance, even though they weren't on school property, they tried to,
Brooke McLyman. She gets it.
Yep.
She gets it.
Anyway, I disagree with what he does. But if the law was not properly applied and he was arrested falsely and accused, it is absolutely should be overturned.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, that's not something we should be engaged in. But we have to go through the process. If he was falsely arrested, if a statute was incorrectly applied, and he goes through that process, yes, go through that process. The people who need to hey, look, you should have done this. This is the training you're going to get for doing this, or this is the consequences you're going to get for doing this. Whatever. You have to allow the process to happen. You have to let the investigation happen because we can't just jump to a conviction after 3 days. We can't do it. It's silly. And what are police officers outside of this jurisdiction supposed to do? What is a cop from Ironton, Ohio supposed to do? From Florida? What is he supposed to do? From Texas? From California? What are they supposed to do? They all just band up together, get in a big truck, take a posse down over there and throw pitchforks at people whom they think should be this. What are they supposed to do? What special insight do they have that the rest of us don't in this particular situation? None. And that's all I have to say about that.
Wrote in the last name, made a comment that just cracked me up. You shouldn't put it up, but it was quite funny.
Oh,
That Chili's narrative has been evolving. Cop going 75, 80, 90.
Yeah.
It was like as ridiculous as that sounds. I would not put it past DeCastro.
Well, yeah, that's what he's got to have, that escalating narrative, because again, he's got to continue to have reason to speak on it. Instead of saying, hey guys, some fucked up shit happened. We need to keep an eye on this. Here's a family that needs help. Here's how you can help them. Right?
Luckily, just as we said, just as we predicted, as you predicted, as I predicted, as team predicted, and Irish and everybody, just as we've all predicted, I've noticed a decided lack of pressure, of push from his channel. Now, I mean, we've said that he was his own worst enemy, and eventually he'll wind up canceling himself.
Yep.
I am already beginning to see the decline. The algorithm is not picking him up like it used to. It's not putting his stuff out, and I just happened to pop over and check out, I saw that he was live because I logged in to YouTube, and I was like, oh, because I get I have the little red dot indicating he's live. So when I was like, okay, let me see, I haven't been over like that. I literally was over there in a live, and there was it was while you were live. And I went over there, and there was 98 people in his chat, and they were all all I saw was mods talking, and I was like, so he's got his echo chamber, he's not doing anything, and he's not making any money off of this, so I'm out. I don't even need to I think I made a comment at one point just to laugh at him, and he swiftly blocked me.
Free speech,
Right. So, but yeah, he can't take criticism. We said we've always predicted that he was going to cancel himself. He's his own worst enemy. We already see that happening. His channel is in decline. The whole week off from YouTube, I think, hurt him a lot more than he's letting on.
Yeah.
Being canceled from YouTube even for a week is going to be
When I don't put out content for a week, I notice that it takes a minute to get build back up, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And sometimes it's the content. Sometimes it's the whatever. It just December seems to be kind of a weird time. Winter time is kind of a weird time for everybody. December, the holidays, and then the hangover and whatnot from the new year and everything kind of travels on into middle of January. I mean, you see people's analytics, they'll take a dip at the end of, and then February starts to kind of pick up a little bit. March, but whatever. But Angel Rivera says Chili's claiming he has been soft banned by YouTube, but does not give a reason. He's probably not wrong. He probably has been soft banned by YouTube, but I'll give you a reason. It's because of his abuse of the DMCA claim takedown and all of his soft threats and hard threats to dox people.
That was
stupid.
We say he's dumb. He's a dumb person.
We told him not to do it. We told him not to do it. Said, look, this is what's going to happen if you do it, and everything that we said was going to happen has happened. Or
I guess he thought it was. I guess it worked like reverse psychology. We said, "Don't do it." He was like, "Oh, I definitely have to do this." Ha 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 ha. He was like, "We warned you."
We warned you, dummy.
Hey, dummy.
Hey, dummy. Yeah. Welsh News Network, who's been a Plot Hole crew member for 2 months, says, "Happy New Year, all." Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you as well. And then Corrections 101, who's been a crew member for 4 months, says, "Happy New Year to you and your families." Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you as well. My goodness. I
got to get that as a clip from My Name is Earl.
Oh, yeah. Hey, dummy.
Hey, dummy.
Chili
gotta get her because she's so brilliant.
She is, yeah. What's her name? Gosh.
Jamie Presley.
Yeah.
Jamie Presley is just and she's so in real life. She's a very sophisticated lady. She's exactly what you would expect of like a Hollywood actress, but she plays white trash like nobody.
She grew up around it.
She is perfected white trash. Just the whole. What are you looking at, dummy?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
She's really.
Love her so much.
Yeah, she's really good. Cindy Sue, who's been a crew member for 12 months, says, Happy New Year. Thank you so much. And then Freedom Fighter, who's been a crew member for 1 month, says, Happy New Year's, Johnny and JL. Thank you so much.
I think it's because she's also she has a very expressive, her
facial expression.
Yeah, her facial mastery.
Really,
that's very impressive.
My wife and I, and then we're kind of off tangent here, but my wife and I were talking about Chevy Chase and talking about what makes him so good as a comedic actor. It's his ability to control his facial expressions. He says more with his face than he does with any line. He's just that's comedically that's been his gift. But anyway.
I always thought Bill Murray was better.
Oh, for
I thought Bill
certain.
Murray was better at the whole the facial expression thing, just kind of
Well-
what he could convey without saying a word was
I wouldn't
always.
necessarily say he's better, but he's different.
Oh come on,
Yeah.
look at Groundhog Day. I mean,
no,
what he conveys without.
Sure. No, I'm not saying that Bill Murray is bad. Bill Murray is fucking. He's a
Yes,
another
no
comedic
human would stack books this way. See, you've been thinking about it. It's like,
Yeah.
Egon, this reminds me of
okay,
the
to the
time
point-
that you almost drilled a hole in your head.
That would have worked too.
That would
yeah,
have worked if you had stopped me.
But the point
All right,
I'm trying to make is if
You've
take a
earned
look
this.
you take a look at you take a look at what separates the good from the great,
Yeah.
and it's going to be their ability to say more without saying it, right?
That's what I love about Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins' ability to,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing with Bill Nye. Bill Nye has the ability to convey facial like little ticks and little things that just convey a specific emotion at a specific time, and he's so good at it. Unless it's Underworld, and then he's just going,
Yeah.
that doesn't really convey shit. But Bill Nye has that. Anthony Hopkins does it as well, whether it's an eye tick or kind of like a twinge smile, something.
All right. What's the most memorable
memorable?
art? Yeah, sure, whatever. I was thinking of 5 different words, and I put them all together and made one word out of it. Look,
What's
I'm
the
just-
bestest that
the
you
best
know with the up and
look at
upstairs and
Silence
the
of the
head?
Lambs, right? Take a look at Silence of the Lambs. What's the
Okay.
number one thing that he's asked to do from Silence of the Lambs?
Right.
It's that slither when he talks about fava beans in a nice canty.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It was totally off the cuff and ad libbed.
And straight down the barrel.
Yeah. Just great. It was amazing.
Although
Anyway,
the back and forth sequence at the end, the quid pro quo at the end, when when he's in Tennessee and he's in like the special, that back and forth, that down the barrel between him and Jodie Foster, that right there, he conveyed it. Even though his face is filling the frame, and it's literally his eyes are here, it's like he's in the frame. What he conveys through that whole sequence, then the little Oscar worthy.
Chris Durham gets it. Rememberable.
Memorable. Yeah. Sit down before you hurt yourself, kid.
Yeah.
Jodie
Foster is another one who's great at facial expressions, because she held her own in Silence of the Lambs against Sir Anthony Hopkins. So, terrific actress. Anyway, that's about it for me tonight.
So you already watched this video?
What video?
This video that you have queued.
Oh, I don't want to watch it. Don't want to.
You just don't. No, I'm not interested in watching it.
No, look. Here's the thing. I knew I wanted to talk about.
It just removes it.
I just got rid of it. Yeah, no, I don't want to look at that because I didn't want to make this about what Chili said. I wanted to make this more about what actually happened and what people should be doing instead of what Chili said, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Paracord Princess's words are hard.
Man, words are hard. And apparently Jeremy Renner had an accident plowing snow.
Snow plowing, yeah.
Snow plowing, and he's in critical, but I heard he was in critical but stable condition. So
yeah, my goodness, it's
run over. I didn't hear the details. What happened?
Ran over his leg, and he, I don't know exactly what happened with his. I know it was an injury involving his leg, but
ouch.
Yeah, it was pretty serious. But anyway, my goodness. I didn't. Okay, look, I'm going to tell people this, and only because I wanted to stream Friday and Sunday. I'm not going to because I have a job this weekend, so I'll be away Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I wanted to because Sunday is my birthday. I wanted to stream for my birthday, but I'm not going to now. So I think Tuesday will be my birthday stream.
Sunday the 8th?
Yeah.
You were born on the 8th?
Yeah. You knew this.
Did I?
Yeah. Same as it was last year and the year before that.
Did I care?
Probably
No,
not.
I'm just playing. I'm just fucking with you.
But no, I've got a gig this weekend, and it's going to be super fun because I have some new gear that I need to test out, and it's one of those gigs that you take because there's not a whole lot of stuff right now because of the time. And like, hey, we're doing a micro budget type thing. Can you come out? And yeah, like, sure, why not? I got nothing else better to do, and I got new gear I need to play with, so let's do it. And it's going to be fun. So yeah, Tuesday.
Ed 209. That's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, shot himself in the leg with an arrow.
With an arrow.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
I'm Hawkeye. No, it's a damn shame because he's really good on. I mean, I know he gets flack for Hawkeye, but
Yeah,
I loved him in Wind River. I've loved him in many of the other things that he's done, and he's currently doing Mayor of Kingstown, and I think he's fantastic in that show. So he's a fantastic actor. He really does when he gets the opportunity to
actually act. I don't think he's very good in action. Like when he did that Bourne whatever thing that he did, I thought it was terrible. I don't know, maybe it was a movie more so than his performance, but didn't particularly care for him in that. I don't really particularly care for. I like him when he's actually able to flex a little bit in the MCU stuff, when he's actually get outside of just being this guy who flings arrows at things. You know what I mean? Casey Cooper, tell your brother I said happy birthday. But anyway, yeah. So like I said, hopefully Jeremy Renner gets, he's in full recovery. I would hate to see what happens to that's I don't want to see people get hurt. I really don't. Call me a hippie. I don't.
I'm sorry.
I don't even want to see him get hurt. I just want to see him shut the fuck up. If he does get hurt, I'm going to laugh at it in certain circumstances. Yes, but I don't. Like I said, whatever. I don't want to see him get hurt.
I got no. Oh yeah, the town. Yeah, really good. Yeah. Look at that. But I got no problem if Chili gets hurt.
If he gets hurt by doing some dumb shit that people tell him not to do, I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't want. I don't like seeing people get hurt.
I call it artificial selection.
Fair
enough. Waiting for him to select himself out of the gene pool.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, that being what it is, it's time to get on out of here. What is this? I could do that. Let me do that. Yeah, it's time to go.
You have an outro.
I've had one for like 2 months running now, 3 months running.
Well, you have it queued up.
Yeah, it's here. It's ready to go.
I missed the chance to make that happen. I did. I'm still glad I made the right choice down in Tahlequah. I still think I made the right choice. I still don't. I'm like Morgan Freeman in Seven. I know I made the right choice, but a day doesn't go by. I wish I made a different one.
Yeah. Maximus, that is just terrible. This started out so great, and then it ended the way it ended.
What do you mean the way it ended?
Maximus says a perfect birthday gift for Johnny: a big birthday cake with a stripper jumping out, but the stripper is top of the gut.
It's mayonnaise icing.
Oh god. Anyway, it's time for us to go check out this guy, that guy over there. Over here, we'll be on Weekend Horror, where they're discussing some horror films. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. I've got if you want to follow my film career, I've got a new channel. It's Insomniac Film Company. Just
film career.
Yeah, fuck you. At Insomniac Film Company, check it out. I'll be putting on all of my stuffs that I get. The documentaries over there, a couple of little tiny things going on over there. So go check it out if you want to. Please subscribe and whatnot. I got to get that thing up to 1,000 subscribers so I can, do what I do with it. But that is what it is. Anyway, it's time to go. Everybody say goodbye. Goodbye.
Ready Player One, start!
Yep.